if that's how you want to play it.
Welcome to MojoPlays. Josh here again, and today we're judging the 10 worst bosses in the Assassin's Creed games. This time around, we'll be looking at instances where the big baddie at the end of the mission was disappointing, frustrating, or just not very much fun. Now, the idea of a boss fight has gradually evolved since the series began, originating as an extra complex level where all you had to do was reach the proper spot for a takedown and transforming into an arena-style hack-and-slash fest. Both have pros and cons, but as long as the bosses are named and are the main objective to take out, they're being put under the Mojo microscope. And so, consider subscribing, hidden blading that like button, and leave a lovely comment so you won't miss more like this.
Corpses do not have boots.
Galan, Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
You're on the wrong side of the giant's wall, friend.
I'm sure you've heard the term setting yourself up for failure. Well, Galan excels at the phrase. Don't expect this goon to test your mettle, as upon cracking open the door to his hut, you'll find him standing in a hole, like,
Hello there.
Of course, he's surrounded by numerous explosive fire pots. Because his line of sight is blocked, you're also free to perform a stealth attack, wiping out most of his health before the fight begins. Funny enough, this isn't some entry-level boss. By the time you reach the quest, Honor has two edges, you'll be many hours deep into the experience. Man really wanted to go out with a bang.
Fool, he might have talked. We got what we came for.
Seabrand of Acre, Assassin's Creed.
Challenging my authority? Are you perhaps hoping to turn my own knights against me?
We mentioned it in worst missions in Assassin's Creed, so I gotta say it again here. Seabrand can be found on the back of a boat. All seems well and good after all. This boss does allow you the variety of choosing how to approach him. The problem is that Master Assassin Altair missed swimming lessons and will insta-die upon touching water. Parkouring towards him means navigating these sporadically placed posts, which with even slightly imprecise timing will kill you, setting you all the way back to the portion of the mission where you had to just first locate him. The arbitrary combo of having to remain unspotted while having to slowly hop from pillar to pillar to avoid a misstep is simply infuriating, and I've said it before, in need of a fine-tuning to this day.
Altair, you've caused quite a stir.
Rodrigo Borgia, Assassin's Creed 2.
You can't! It's my destiny! Mine!
Love this boss or hate it, I think it had to be mentioned here. The fight with Rodrigo is narratively impactful and had a great build up to Ezio's eventual clash with the Eden-wielding figurehead, but it does conclude with you painstakingly fist-fighting the Pope, which is objectively speaking a little goofy. You can also miss out on dialogue whenever landing a solid hit on him, so sometimes it's just best to put the controller down to hear the banter. Never something you'd really want in a climatic boss battle, eh? Even so, I'm pretty sure no one has ever lost this fight, since Ezio has the upper hand the entire time, and the Pope doesn't exactly whip out a tombstone piledriver. We players didn't necessarily want the ringside slam down when finally cornering the head of the Borgias, and for better or for worse, this boss will be remembered, just maybe not for the right reasons.
Get it over with, then.
No.
Loreano Torres, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
Captain Kenway, ever a splinter in my side.
Edward's story draws to a close as you confront the Governor and Grand Master, joined by his gaggle of goons. As far as combat goes, this is merely another group of low-level enemies, with the catch that Torres will be changing the environment ever so slightly, with force fields using, ancient magic. Ultimately, your goal is to reach the proper placement to perform an assassination, but it's a little confusing in the moment, being that he'll block himself off from most angles. This kills any tension or suspense as you first wipe the floor with the jobbers and must slowly climb about the room, scratching your head about how exactly to reach him. All the while, he stands perfectly still like any other NPC.
Could have taken power.
Chasing Lee, Assassin's Creed 3. Now this is not your traditional boss fight. The final encounter with Charles Lee is cinematically epic, but tucked alongside it are asinine requirements to achieve 100% sync and completion. During the parkour battle, Connor must not take damage, not be more than 50 meters away, and not bump into anyone. Yes, a single shove means you failed at accurately recreating history, and I haven't even mentioned the explosive barrels everywhere that pop for seemingly no reason. As one of the last missions in the game, this left us feeling bitter. Even if it was an interesting change of pace for a boss, the idea was golden, the execution was more frustrating than it had to be. Worth noting, they patched the entire chase eventually, lowering the difficulty of certain jumps, but the damage for most was already done.
You resist. Why?
Because no one else will.
Beast of the Hills, Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Stench. And an angry drunk.
Now that we've gone open world as a series, assassins have to contend with the greatest beasts their environment has to offer. And while the number of enemy types has grown, this newer style of combat hasn't quite caught up, exemplified here in this dungeon of a colossal drunk bear. Foremost, it is able to murder you in a few solid hits and heal itself completely, meaning if you're not a high enough level, you'll probably waste a half an hour of your life until you accept you can't out-heal him. But where this boss really shines are the bugs. Occasionally, the beast will be able to hit you while standing behind it, or even at a distance. Plus, the animations can be very unclear. It can be hard to determine whether the bear is healing or just standing still, which can cause what feels like unfair hits. With the cherry on top, that numerous players have reported the bear spawning inside the terrain of the hill, making its loot unobtainable. Feels like you're fighting the game code itself and not the boss.
Crazed bear must have fallen in a mead barrel.
The Storm Fortress, Assassin's Creed Rogue. The last legendary ship battle, and this one is a doozy. Despite its size, it'll always be moving at what feels like 10 times faster than you. So if you can't find the magic area to cower in its blind spot, it'll sink you in seconds, no exaggeration. This is largely in part to the unlimited, unending mortar fire, which can spread incendiary damage upon impact. Then there are the two legendaries that come to back it up when at low health. If they decide to sandwich you, GG, try again. Or if you take out one without damaging the other, the remaining legendary will become far more aggressive and aim to ruin your night. It just seems to break all conventions of every other ship battle by possessing all the most lethal traits at once. Being that the Stormfort is a level 99 ship, along with its buddies, they have acted as the roadblock between countless players and 100%. Kawab, Assassin's Creed Origins.
Tarka's little boy has grown up.
And you, Magi, have aged poorly.
Beat this 3-foot-tall dude in honorable combat by punching him into the dirt. It sounds like your average fistfight mission at first, but someone downloaded a copy of The Matrix into the Animus, and this guy got a hold of it. Kawab will take tens of minutes off your life as he hops backwards every second to dodge all of your attacks, and when at max distance can perform an attack to erase at least half of your health. Meanwhile, your punches, when they do land, only scratch off tiny little flecks of his HP. Now, most people didn't realize you were allowed to use a shield bash in this fight, and without it, you'll be hard-pressed to get the life lead. Ultimately, it controls as though you're both punching underwater, and whether you found him easily tedious or a frustrating bore, most agree it was just not very fun.
Just kill me.
Number 2. The Witch, Assassin's Creed Bloodlines.
My claws. God grant me strength to snap your bones.
The Sony PSP's first Assassin's Creed game also happens to contain one of the series' most broken bosses of all time. This mysterious woman lurks in an underground dungeon, overflowing with fog, and checks every box to decay your sanity, as she chains attacks until you're dead. Though most of the time, you'll have no idea where she is, as she'll retreat into the fog to heal, call in goons to distract and damage you, then unleash an unblockable special attack to ensure your first few attempts are guaranteed game overs. Now, it wouldn't be the perfect annoying boss if she didn't also throw crap at you when at a good enough distance and remain out of reach of your throwing knives, so you can't do the same to her. Let's just say Altair's last words to her were a little nicer than ours would have been.
Forgive me for this.
Caledonian Boar, Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
What's the problem? A creature beyond the understanding of mortals claims these grounds. You have been warned.
Y'all who know already know. It's one thing to fight off a feral oracle in a vision-obscuring dungeon. It's an entirely separate, maddening experience to get your butt kicked by a gang of fuzzy pigs in the countryside. Boars in Odyssey were unfathomably designed to tower above mythical monstrosities to players' bewilderment. These hogs are immensely difficult in all aspects, including lightning speed, heavy damage, and an unrelenting nature to see you perish. We even gotta give some props to the farting boar for at least being a one-on-one. The Caledonian, however, has no such morals. It's incredibly difficult to predict their attacks like any other ordinary soldier, and you'll likely find yourself swearing off fighting these creatures before the questline is through. To whoever or whichever team designed this hunt, I hope things are better for you.
I should get this pelt back to Daphne at the temple.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.